The NFL draft gets closer and closer by today. And today on the Commanders Report, I'm going to be answering your questions on the burgundy and gold from you, the fans of the Commanders Report. But before we get into today's questions, I love getting this opportunity to address you guys in the fan base directly. If you want to join our mailbags, you want to get your question on a future edition of the Commanders Report mailbag, make sure you click that subscribe button today and join us for our Commanders Report live shows every single Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you have your opportunity to have your voice heard and get your questions, your comments, your Commanders mock drafts, whatever the case may be, right here on the channel. So if you want to join the most interactive Commanders fan community right here on the YouTube platform, what are you waiting for? Make sure you click that subscribe button right now. So I'll pause and open it up for questions here, starting with Zach, who says, do we believe Scefter saying Daniels is penciled in at number 2? I mean, so to be clear, Scefter, he left it kind of open that, the Commanders could go another direction, but it really does seem like all the reporting coming out, aside from that one report from, I think it was Pelissero, that they're thinking about McCarthy, and that's based on other teams reporting and not even from within the Commanders organization. I think everything that you're hearing from within the Commanders organization is that they like Daniels, and that's going to be the pick. Now, you've also heard from guys like Dan Quinn, the head coach, and GM Adam Peters, that they haven't decided on a quarterback yet, and that very well could be the case. They're doing their due diligence on all of these guys, and they're trying to identify who they believe is the next great quarterback of this football team. For me personally, as somebody that has gone into the film, somebody that has gone over the numbers, somebody that has done the research, I think that Jayden Daniels is the right choice. I think that he's the best balance of high upside with high floor and good footwork and good mechanics and all these different things that he brings to the table. I would be okay with Drake Maye, even though I'm not sure if he's a great fit given the things that he needs to develop heading into the league. Then we got one from Eugene here, and he says, could Washington be planning a coup to get number 1 pick from Chicago, collecting all these picks? No. Chicago is in love with Caleb Williams. That's why they got rid of Justin Fields. Remember, they like Justin Fields, all right? They think that he's a good quarterback, and that's why they were asking for a second, third-round pick for him. Eventually, of course, he went to the Steelers for a conditional 6th. So obviously the rest of the NFL disagreed with them, but I think that they love Caleb Williams. That's going to be the pick. All the signs are pointing that that's going to be the pick for Chicago, and there's going to be nothing Washington can do about it. I would love for Caleb Williams to be the quarterback of the Commanders because I think, at least in my opinion, he is the best quarterback prospect I have ever scouted. That's kind of crazy to say because I've been doing this for a while now, but Caleb, super special player, but he's going to be a Chicago Bear, and you're left with kind of what's left if you're the Washington Commanders. Then we got one from John Cena here. He says, what are the pros and cons of drafting Jayden Daniels at number 2 overall? So the pros with Jayden is that he's got great touch on his deep ball, super catchable football. I think that the mental processing is pretty good. I think he's pretty good at getting to his check down when he needs to get there. The quick game stuff is there as well. I think that he sees and reads defenses to the deep portion of the field exceedingly well. There's a reason why he was so effective when targeting 20-plus yards down the field last year, and it wasn't just because of Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. Like, that's a big part of it, don't get me wrong, but part of that was Jayden knowing what he could take advantage of given what the defense was giving him. Plus, he's an electric runner. I think the second he comes into the National Football League, he's a top 3 rusher in the National Football League. Really special in that department as well. Plus, he has really clean pocket footwork, and he's got a really compact, quick, and really efficient release with really smooth throwing mechanics. So I really like all that stuff from Jayden. But with the cons here is that I worry about the injury stuff because he is extremely skinny, and when you watch him on film, he doesn't protect his body very well. Because he's so dynamic, he never wants to give up his body and slide. He always wants to go to the end zone and get the touchdown. And given, granted, he's a great athlete, electric, all those things, but he also takes a ton of huge hits on film that are just really scary, especially heading into the NFL where these guys are really going to be laying the wood on him. Pause. And then, another thing that's kind of concerning with Daniels is his ability to throw over the middle of the field. He doesn't do it very much on his LSU film. It's either down the field like a fade, a post, a go route, throwing it deep down the field, a bomb, or he's throwing it short, or he's deciding to run it. All right, there's not a whole lot of that intermediate game on his film. You definitely want to see more of it. It's certainly possible that gets developed in the league. But the modern NFL is targeting the middle of the field, and Jayden Daniels just didn't really do that a whole lot on his college film. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Is Jayden Daniels the next great Washington quarterback? Let me know what you guys think down there by giving me a yes or a no for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question with a yes or a no. So now we got one from HTTR Prod, and it says, how do you feel about our O-line going into next season? You got to get a left tackle. And maybe even 2 tackles in the NFL draft, man. Like, you got Tyler Biadasz, pretty decent center, okay? I like that one. Sam Cosmi's a good right guard, he was the only offensive lineman that had a good season last year for this team. Then you get Nick Allegretti and Michael Dieter, and you're probably going to have a competition between those two for the left guard spot. I think either one of those guys is better than what you had last year. Then you got Cornelius Lucas and Andrew Wiley as your tackle options, and I don't love either one of those. I think Cornelius is a really good swing tackle option, but he's not a starting left tackle. So I think you have to address offensive tackle in the draft, and I think you have to think about maybe getting a guard in maybe day 3 of the draft this year as well to potentially be a future starter. So definitely, I mean, this was arguably the worst offensive line in football last year. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and still, as we approach the NFL draft, I think you have to take an offensive tackle by the end of round 2. Then we got one from Gary V here. It says, is Jamon Davis gone after this season? It's very possible, man. They're bringing in a bunch of players at the position. Of course, they brought in Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, and a couple others as well, and they might even draft somebody as well. So, I mean, Jamon Davis, I think that he had a much better season when he was on the field last year than in his previous seasons. I think he's gotten better every single season he's been here, but maybe he's just not exactly the type of player that they are looking for in terms of what they want from the inside linebacker position. And by they, I'm talking about Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr., the defensive coordinator. So I think Jamon Davis is probably gone after this season. I think that'd be a pretty fair assumption to make. Now, before we get into the rest of the questions on today's Commanders Report mailbag, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks. You can go to prizepicks.com/CLNS or download the Prize Picks app today. And Prize Picks has got specials for new and returning users alike for the start of the MLB season when you head on over to prizepicks.com/CLNS or download the Prize Picks app today. Football season may be over, folks, but the action on the diamond is just heating up. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your baseball knowledge into serious cash, and that is if you know ball. Now, you take a look at what a typical Prize Picks projection looks like. So you're going to have a bunch of different stat projections at your disposal here, and you can choose more or less on any stat category you want. So here we got Mookie Betts, more total bases at 1.5. Mitch Keller, hits allowed 5.5. We're going to take the more on that. He's been struggling a little bit. And then Fernando Tatis Jr., that's actually one of their special promotions, and it's called Demons and Goblins. This is a demon one, where if Fernando Tatis Jr. hits a home run here, we're going to make a pretty decent penny here with our friends at Prize Picks. The 2024 MLB season is now off and running, and you can pick more or less right now to make some money from the comfort of your couch while you watch your favorite team play. Prize Picks is super simple. All you do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can get started right now if you haven't already at prizepicks.com/CLNS or download the Prize Picks app and get a first-time deposit match of $100. Again, it's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. You can pick more or you can pick less. It's that easy with our friends at Prize Picks. Then we got one from Demarius Young. What's up, Demarius? Says, what are your sleeper wide receivers on day 2 or 3? There's so many good wide receivers. It's hard to pick like a true sleeper. Now, somebody that I do think is going to be a sleeper, I can't remember his first name. It's either Javon or Jerry, but his last name's Coker, and he's from Holy Cross, okay? And he's not even on the Pro Football Focus big board right now, but I've been going through all the wide receiver prospects here, and I got to Coker's film from Holy Cross, and Lord knows it was tough to get Holy Cross film. But when I turned it on, man, this guy can freaking fly. And then I went back to my notes on him from the Senior Bowl, and he's damn good too, man. He was winning a bunch in the one-on-ones. So he's somebody that's probably going to go on day 3. I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Coker, and he's from Holy Cross, super small school. So I think that on day 3, that's probably the one wide receiver true sleeper in this draft. But like, there's like 20, 25, 30 guys in this draft class at the wide receiver position that are probably going to be good starters in the league. Then we got another one here from Zach, and he says, Commanders is trading back into the first round a lock. I wouldn't say it's a lock. I'd say it's a possibility for sure, especially if like one of the bigger name left tackle prospects starts falling a little bit, like a Troy Fotano or an Alou Fashanu, somebody like that just falls a little bit. I could certainly see the Commanders putting together some picks. I mean, they got 6 picks in the top 100 picks. All right, first 3 rounds, you got 6 picks. So you definitely have the ammo to move up if you need to. Another possibility is that if there's a really good edge rusher that's still available, like if they love Leatu Latu out of UCLA, if they love Jared Verse out of Florida State, they could certainly trade back into the first and take an edge rusher. So they definitely have a big need at left tackle. That needs to be addressed. They definitely have a big need at number 1 edge rusher. You got to find a way to address both of those needs with the 6 picks that you have at your disposal. Watch out for Adam Peters to be aggressive towards the end of day 1 of the draft. Then we got one from Tank here. He says, do your concerns with Kliff Kingsbury go away if the Commanders take Jayden Daniels? Is he a good fit for his offense? So they don't go away. I think they get alleviated as much as possible with Jayden Daniels because the thing about Kliff is I don't think he develops quarterback talent very well. Now, you might be saying to yourselves, Jack, he had Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield, and he's worked with Kyler Murray, and, how can you say he doesn't develop quarterback talent? Well, I mean, Patrick Mahomes was arguably one of the most raw quarterback prospects, of all time. People are, guaranteeing that he was going to be a bust coming out of Texas Tech. This is the greatest quarterback of our generation under Kliff Kingsbury's watch. He played 3 seasons at Texas Tech, developed him 0 zip nada. Terrible footwork coming out of the Red Raiders, terrible decision-making, mental processing wasn't where it needed to be. He had to sit an entire season behind Alex Smith before he was ready to become the Patrick Mahomes that we know today, because Kliff Kingsbury, he just kind of says, hey man, go out there and wing it. All right, look at the way Caleb Williams played at USC last year. Just completely winging things out there. And that's just the way Kliff Kingsbury operates, where he's like, I'm going to put a super talented quarterback in my offense, and I'm not going to teach him footwork. I'm not really going to hone in on the decision-making and the mental processing. I'm just going to let that guy go out and be him and kind of be like the Johnny Manziel, the Kyler Murray, the super playmaking, out-of-structure type guy. Right? But that doesn't develop quarterback talent. Now, the reason why I like Jayden Daniels over a guy like Drake Maye in this system is because Daniels already has good footwork. He already has good throwing mechanics. So he doesn't need development in those areas, whereas Drake Maye has awful footwork. He needs major development in that area, and there's no way I can see Kliff Kingsbury developing that area of his game. And with bad footwork leads to bad accuracy, which is exactly what we saw from Maye this past year with the Tar Heels. So I think Jayden Daniels is the better option. I think he's the more clean prospect. Also, he's got that electric rushing ability to make up for some of the deficiencies in Kliff Kingsbury's scheme, at least in my opinion. So I think Jayden Daniels gives Kliff the best possible chance at success here in Washington, but I can't say my concerns with him completely go away with Daniels here in Washington. Now, let me know down there in the comment section, how confident are you in the new OC here in Washington, Kliff Kingsbury? I'm definitely skeptical of him given his history, both in college and in the National Football League as an offensive play caller and as a quarterback developer. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 being not confident at all, to 10 being he's going to be the best offensive coordinator this team has ever seen. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section, how you feel about Coach Kliff. Then we got one from Ryan Flint. It says, how disappointed are you that we're utilizing specialized running backs in Eckler and Robinson? why don't they understand defenses will key on who is in? So this is a good question here, Ryan. I would say, and I think this has a little bit to do with like the Kliff Kingsbury thing, man. It's very predictable. That's the thing. That's one of my biggest issues with the offense is that first down, a lot of times it's either going to be inside zone or counter run or a screen. All right, it's pretty predictable. And defenses can really key in on that. And like you said, man, if you're going to have specialized running backs in this way, where Eckler's going to be kind of your scat back, your receiving back, your third down back, whatever you want to call it, and then Robinson's going to be your early down option. I mean, I think most teams have this kind of setup, though, where you have that third down specialist, and then you have your early down. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I think it definitely points to maybe the predictability of this offense that you're bringing in with Kliff Kingsbury, and that definitely worries me at least a little bit. Then we got one from Phil, and he says, who's our left tackle in 2024? If I have to guess right now, if they don't trade back up into round 1, I think it could be Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. I think Morgan is ready to play right away. I don't think he's in need of much development in terms of his footwork and his hand placement and his instincts for the game. He's not the most like physically dominating, so he's not going to be like an all-pro caliber guy, or he might not even make a Pro Bowl in his career, but could he be a solid day one starter in the National Football League at left tackle? I think so. And, you know, you got a guy that's coming in, most likely, Jayden Daniels. If it's not him, then it'll be Drake Maye. You want to protect your quarterback, man. And I just don't trust Cornelius Lucas to be your bona fide starting left tackle heading into this year. I'd much rather go out and get a rookie, whether at the trade back into round 1 or get one right at the beginning of round 2. And I think Jordan Morgan could be there because there's a really good offensive tackle class. And if he is, I would go out and get the Wildcat left tackle with the number 36 overall pick. So before we get to the rest of the questions today, make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you are a real one. I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. And if you like what we do here, we give you guys premium Commanders content for free every single day here on the platform. Do your part here. Click that thumbs up icon, and I greatly appreciate it. Then we got one from Omar's Burner here. What's up, baby? Says, thoughts on taking JJ in round 1 and Tez Walker in round 2. I hate it. I hate both of those. J.J. McCarthy, I think, is like, I compare him to Daniel Jones, where, you know, he's got a good arm, not a special arm, pretty good throwing on the run, super conservative, not going to bomb it down the field. Even if he has open receivers down the field, he's going to take his check down if he's not 100% sure. So I think J.J. McCarthy is Daniel Jones. And then Tez Walker was arguably the worst wide receiver at the Senior Bowl this year because he can't catch anything and he can't get open. All right, I know he's fast and I know he's big, but you look at the film with Drake Maye, the thing that sticks out is how many drops Tez Walker has on his film. It is striking how bad this man is at football, and people have him as like a second-round pick. I mean, I just don't understand it, man. He's big and he's fast, but that's about it, in my opinion. Tez Walker should be like a 5th-round wide receiver, at least in my eyes. Then we got one from Curran. He says, do you think it's possible Jayden Daniels does better over the next 5 years than Caleb? Is it possible? Sure. Could Caleb get hurt? Absolutely. And like I said before, Jayden Daniels does have perennial MVP potential, right? I think that he is a much more polished thrower of the football coming into the league than Lamar Jackson was, but Lamar significantly developed when he came into the league in that regard. If Jayden Daniels makes similar steps and he's able to throw over the middle with more frequency and with more consistency, then that's really going to be a game changer for him. And it's just so hard to guard a guy like Jayden Daniels, somebody that can beat you with his arm, throws a super catchable football, clean mechanics, and then he combines that with really electric rushing ability. I mean, it is really a marvel to watch. We all watched it with him at LSU this year. It was simply unbelievable. So is it possible? Sure, it's possible, but Caleb Williams is the best quarterback I've ever scouted in the 7 years I've been doing this, and that's just my opinion. But he's also going into a great situation with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and DeAndre Swift and a good OC and Shane Waldron and a defense that was really starting to play well at the end of last year. And they're probably going to get Rome Odunze at number 9. I mean, that's going to be the best situation a number 1 pick has ever gone into. So I think that I think the chances of Caleb being better in 5 years are pretty significant. Then we got one from Patrick Starr. Says, if you had to guess which position the Commanders take at number 36, what would it be? My best guess is left tackle, because beyond that, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to get somebody you trust to play on the field week 1. All right, now, because this is a really special offensive tackle class, you might be able to get one of those guys at pick number 36, but I think they're going to be in short supply, and you better get one quickly. So I think Jordan Morgan is somebody that you definitely need to be watching out for. I think left tackle is definitely a position Washington is going to want to lock up shortly after getting their quarterback at number 2 overall. Now let me know down there in the comments section, what position should Washington target in round 2? Should it be left tackle like I want to do? Should it be number 1 edge rusher, which is certainly a plausible explanation? Should they go get a corner? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. What position should Washington target in round 2? That'll be it for this week's mailbag, guys. I appreciate everything that you guys do for this channel. Without you guys, we would not be here. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now if you want to join our family before we really get into this really juicy Commanders draft content just days before the 2024 NFL draft. I appreciate the heck out of you, and make sure you click that subscribe button. Until next time, hail to the Commanders.